What is going on? I am Jack. Welcome back to Log Cabin Firewood. We have created a Sawbuck, and this was my old deck. I did a little test pick to make sure this thing would actually pick, because this stuff is all dry rotted and not perfect, and neither is this thing, but I'm planning on using this to cut the slab wood that I got from the mill. And my intentions were to pick this thing up with the forks and drive it across the street. But that tractor, without any counterweight on it, it really doesn't like to pick anything up. So I borrowed the neighbor's trailer. We're gonna get this thing loaded up. Hopefully I can get it on here without smashing the wife's car or these fenders. Let's go. Well, you know, the excavator doesn't have a swivel motion. It's funny, when I used to work with cranes, people would say, hey, you know, spin it. And, you know, the crane operator's like, dude, I don't have a spin on the cable. But I got it on here. Everything's still in one piece. I'm going to move the excavator, drive over to my wood yard, and then I will walk back over and track the excavator over and get this thing unloaded. And maybe start cutting up some wood. It's supposed to storm here soon, so I might have an hour, might have a couple hours. We'll see what happens. We are at the wood yard. Let's get this thing unloaded before the skies open up. We didn't beat the storm, but that's okay. So this, essentially, this is for bucking up this slab wood. It's kind of a pain to cut in these bundles as they are. So I'm gonna bust the bundle loose and I will set some pieces onto this. And I got this marked out to 16 inches. I'll make a cut here, 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 and that should. And then I can put it in the conveyor, and that should be a lot easier than the way I did it before. Let's get out of the rain and go get a bite to eat. We will be back in a little bit. So this part right here, I'm not really looking forward to. I know this thing's gonna go kaboom. And I forgot my actual cutters. And I don't have a hammer, I don't think. Kaboom. Cat-like reflexes. Meow. So I have no clue if this is even gonna work. If it's a good idea, a bad idea. But I figured I would try it. Because I did not like messing with this the way we did last time. And I mean, essentially, I just have to line this up with this first board here and fill this thing up and go to town, and then fill my trailer up. BW35 Bucket was the one that inspired me to do this. He said he and his family had done this for many years, and they would make theirs out of the slab wood that they were using to heat their home. But since I had this extra material sitting here from the deck, well, not extra, but the leftovers from the stuff from the deck, I said, why don't I just go ahead and make it out of this and get rid of it? I was kind of tired of looking at it in the driveway anyway. A lot of bark in this. And bark makes not coal. Makes a lot of ash. Brain fart. So far, I think this is going to be a pretty cool idea. Let's get the saw out. Well, first impressions, I think this is awesome. I think it's going to work really well. This might be a little cumbersome getting the wood, but for the most part, this isn't bad. And I am going to back the trailer up. Now, is this still going to be labor intensive? Yes. Do I feel this is still easier than what I was doing? Also, yes. I wonder if I should be splitting some of this. You know, I do have a gasification stove, and the way the gasification stoves work and why they prefer smaller pieces of wood is because they don't have a constant fire in them at all times. So when the water hits 185 degrees, the stove completely shuts off. And then every 20 minutes, it'll give it a blast of air just to keep the coal bed alive. I think I have mine set to where it'll run for 90 seconds or as soon as the reaction chamber hits 250 degrees. If it hits one of those first, it shuts off. And then the stove will only fire up once the water temperature drops below 165 degrees. So that might happen in 3 or 4 hours. So the smaller pieces of wood actually give you better recovery times because a smaller piece of wood catches on fire faster, then it shuts off, that way it burns less wood. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's the way they work. So I probably should be splitting these once. Like, this is perfect. That's perfect for my stove. Toothpicks. And Bartlett Arborist Supplies actually sent me these 2 years ago when they sent me a goodie package. They're just mesh glasses. I should have kept them on because I already got stuff in my eyes just from throwing this stuff in the truck. But I think this is way easier than cutting into that pile the way I was. So Bucket, thanks for your idea. Bucket actually sent me a whole drawing explaining how he, and I believe it was his dad, used to do it. I'll share that here. Sorry, Bucket. Hopefully you don't mind that I'm sharing your drawing, your CAD drawing. But yeah, you know, it was really nice of him to help me out with this. And also, when I was in Ohio, he brought me a bucket of goodies, all kinds of salsa and jelly, and 2 of my favorite things from one of his local distilleries. I asked him to pick me something up because I can't find it around here, and it was just a good, like, blackberry distilled something. It's not Shine, but whatever it was, it's really delicious. I haven't even opened them yet. They're still sitting in my freezer. But I appreciate the gesture, my friend. Thank you again for being kind and taking care of me. This was just 2 loads on the little Sawbuck over here that we've created. And I already think that this was easier doing it this way. Now, I'm not cutting through the whole pile like I was, because I did have the 36-inch bar on here, and I was just cutting through the whole pile. But that gets so, it's hard to do it that way. I really think this is going to be the way, and I might even see if I can't phone a friend to come over here and help me you know, get this thing loaded and one of us cut and then both of us throw in the trailer. We'll see.